This is the echo.
This is the echo.
This is the echo. The echo.
This is the echo. A thing in motion, moving to where it is not.
This is the echo.
A thing in motion moving to where it is not.
A thing in motion, moving to where it is not.
I want to know about a moment when you were
When my
child.
sister was a child,
My sister was a
when
child,
so the
she
time
said
she
she
felt
felt
closest to God, like touch,
Like
someone,
touch,
not
but
touch,
like
touch.
you or
a
you
selfish
kind
kind
of
of
touch
touch,
someone else.
like soul touch, others touch.
Like if you
something.
remember the first time, like you realized you were touching someone that wasn't you.
Do they ever hold my shadow in their bed?
I
I
loved.
loved.
He went away.
What would it be like to
Do
love
my
how I
old
look?
lovers know
No.
wherever they are now?
What would
when
it
I
be
think
like
of
to
them?
love? A privilege. What would it
What
be
would it
like
be
What
to
like
it
to
would be
love?
love?
like to
What
love
would it
how
be
I
like
look?
to love?
I wonder
What
who
would
is
it be
still
like to
waiting
love?
when I ask them to wait
Felt
for me.
closest to God, half laughter.
Why do I
of
take names
anticipation,
for
wondering
granted?
if he wonders
Taker,
about
giver,
I
bomber,
wonder
bomb.
who is still waiting when I ask
Carry the
them
bomb in
to
my
wait
blood.
for me.
Carry the bomb in my blood.
Every word
Carry
that
the
we
bomb in my
choose
blood.
is a decision
Carry
of
the
that,
bomb
of
in
that
my
I reach
thing
out
which
with
we
my
You,
want.
mind.
yourself,
Every,
your other
Does it
self,
every
all
single
selves,
moment of our
all
lives.
When my
Ghosts of
sister
the
was a
future.
child, she said she
The
felt
ghost of a
closest to
dream.
God.
The devil you know.
And it cannot be in the present because it is not present.
Faith is planting seeds in the snow.
Do my old lovers know wherever they are now when I think of
That
them? Who is
feeling
still
of-
waiting to live? Who is still waiting to
Just
live?
you, yourself, and your other self.
Who is still
and all
waiting
the
to
selves
live?
You yourself,
Who
your
is still
other
waiting
self,
to live?
all the selves you once
Who
were.
is still waiting to live?
you, yourself,
Who is still
your other
waiting
self,
to live?
all the selves you want.
Who is still waiting to live? Who is still waiting to live? Who is
Just you,
still
yourself,
waiting
and
to
your
live?
other self, and all the
Who
selves
is
you
still
want to
waiting
bring.
to live? Who is still waiting to live? Who is still
This is
waiting
the
to
echo.
live?
This is the echo.
Who is
This is
still
the
waiting
echo.
to live? Who is still waiting 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 to live?
Is the way that I touch unique to me? Like, do I have a signature? Is the way that I touch unique to me? Like, do I have a signature? My signature is not like the thing that I do with my hands, but it's like the intentions that I leave with my touch. And that can be done without physical touch. That can be done with like a glance, and that can be done with touch that is not touch, but is intimacy. Like what is it when souls touch? what does that feel like? What is it when eyes touch? Because like that is so visceral. Someone makes eye contact with me and holds it and is communicating something. And I'm not in physical proximity to them, but it's the same kind of communication that is like with bodies, you know, it's the same kind of communication where like if their hand is in mine, then it communicates the same thing. And I think that's how we like leave traces on each other, is with that sort of quality of touch. And I've been thinking a lot about like
My heart's like beating fast for whatever reason. Hmm. You know, it's funny. I feel like I had my best friend growing up. His name was Justin. Really troubled guy. His parents were abusive. And he was like a musical prodigy, like very counterculture. He loved to wear like chokers and like armbands and like, you know, he's kind of like the 14-year-old that has a tattoo kind of thing. Oh, this is us. This is us as Wednesday Addams and Goth guy on our 7th grade Halloween together. So that's Justin. And that's me, not looking at the camera. But yeah, Justin was a musical prodigy. He could play 12 instruments. He had synesthesia. He's a composer. He wrote his own piano music. And it's crazy for a guy that like loved to swear and like, you know, even as like a 13-year-old would like tell a teacher to fuck off and like, you know, wore band t-shirts and we'd go mosh and all this stuff. But one of the consistent parts was that he was his parents made him go to church. And because he was my best friend, we were like attached to the hip for a long time. Both of us were very troubled. We both wanted to transfer to this arts school, the one that I ended up going to. It was a 7 through 12 school, and he got in as a 7th grader, and I asked him to wait for me because I hadn't taken any acting classes. I knew nothing about acting. I had just done commercials as a little child. And I asked him to wait for me, and by the time that I felt like I was ready to audition, he had dropped out of high school and joined a gang. And I don't know that that would have ever been his life if he hadn't waited for me. And I was the one to actually go to the art school and he wasn't. And I know that's not my cross to bear. It's his parents. They were deeply troubled people. But anyways, I guess when we were like in 8th grade, I went with him to a church retreat. I'd never been to church, didn't grow up religious, had never really known anything about the Bible or scripture my whole life. And we went, and he knew that I was going through some stuff. And the title of the retreat was called Overflow, to open yourself up and let God overflow you. And like one of the first nights, you know, this guy that would never, ever be caught dead talking about his feelings, so like entrenched in this kind of counterculture, toxic masculinity, he knew everything that was going on with me, the kind of problems I was having with my family. And he put his hand on my shoulder and he said, I pray for your happiness. And, I loved him. He loved me. We never used any kind of language like that. But that was the first time that I felt like I'd really felt like what that meant for someone to really touch me on both a physical and an emotional level. And I still think of him often. I mean, he's on my fucking wall. I haven't talked to him since years out of high school, but I keep that touch with me right here on the shoulder. Can you describe a time in which you feel as though you've touched God or God has touched you?
I was kneeling. It's hard to kneel for that long. I always did like that part of Mass, the kneeling. Thought it felt very cool. It was always like this weird timing thing when you'd go down to pray after getting the Eucharist. Be like that. Like, am I gonna be the last one up? I haven't been to my home church in a long time. But I make a point to visit churches when I'm other places, when I'm like abroad or something. Because churches are usually pretty beautiful for all the horrible reasons that they had the ability to be that beautiful. Like the churches in Peru. Beautiful. Through horrible methods. Thinking to God. My heart beats very fast a lot. I really miss learning about the human body, which I did a lot in high school and was my major in undergrad, but it's wild that so much goes on in our body that we don't know about. Like, we're doing things we don't even understand. All the time. My body's doing this, like, meh. And you don't know the names of all the things, which I guess that's the on the ground. One drop more could not be found.
Faith is unnatural.
Faith is something
I
unnatural.
think it just comes from that desire to explain.
Thinking there's a step there and you take a step down and the step's not there.
Like we are believing in
It's
something.
not biological, and I think that's like where humanity lives.
It is unnatural in that it is us
When people have faith,
loaning ourselves out to some future or to some unknown.
The undiscovered country.
we were defying our humanity.
To fly beyond themselves and into the stars.
To make us free, now you've let it bloody.
Well, there is this. Me and my partner, we sleep together, as obviously, but we always try to find new positions randomly to sleep together, and we have this whole dynamic through through night, like literally this whole choreography while we are sleepy, like literally we are we are like, okay, we're going to sleep together, but then when I move, we can be like literally with our eyes closed, and then I move in this way, and that means that she needs to move in another way to put her arm in this way, and then when we tire of that, then I move in this way, so she turns to the other way, and then I put my leg between their legs, and sometimes we found the perfect like Lego, and like, I don't know, like el mejor encaje para estar, like the best comfortable position, and it's like, oh, this is a good position, so it's and sometimes we discover new positions, and it's like, oh, this is the new one, so and the thing is, like, we barely talk about this.
Time when I was lost.
Well, at the start, I was not lost.
I
was taking a hike
think I was 20.
on campus in undergrad.
And I worked at a deli in a grocery store. And I saved up money. And I decided to go backpacking in Europe.
Which felt
And you get lost a lot when you travel.
weird to me because it seemed like a path you shouldn't be taking, but then I had done the hike enough times and saw enough people pass it that one day I was like, well, fuck this. I want to see what's on the other side of this hill.
You say something, you say it will never happen again. You're supposed to learn, and that is why, or not. No, just me, just you, just together.
And I kept walking, and I was sad. And so I kept walking. And I kept going because there kept being a path.
I used to have this dream that I would become a famous actor and then use that money to invest in corporations, and then I would amass a great deal of wealth and then train in the martial arts and then use my money to buy lots of gadgets and tools to help me fight crime. And by day, I would be a famous actor, and by night, I would be a Batman-esque figure.
When I was a kid, I don't know why this just came to me. At Disneyland or Disney World, there's this ride called it's a Small World After All. Obviously, everyone knows.
I made my family take me on this ride so many times. Just over and over and over again. And then when we got home, I made them sing the song to me. It's a small world after all. It's a small world after all. It's a small world after all. It's a small, small world.
It had to be you, Fiona Marie, Fiona Marie. It had to be you. I wandered around and finally found
it's a small world after all. It's a small world after all. It's a small world after all.
In all of the
small
world,
world. It's a small world after all.
It's a small world
after all.
Fiona Marie.
It's a small world
It
after
had to
all.
be
It's a
you.
small world.
'Cause in all of the world, you had the best girls. In all of the world, you
Until eventually they stopped. They were just like, I'm not doing that anymore. Shut up, youngest child.
Fiona Marie, Fiona Marie.
But one day, like a year later, my mom got me a new CD, like kids songs. And when It's a Small World came on, I just lit up
And
started laughing.
and I just kept going.
I miss you so
Me han
much.
dado la señal.
Please come back.
Despierta de ese sueño que es hora de luchar.
And I think there was something about it where I thought, it must curve back around. I just thought eventually, if I kept walking, that I was actually on an imperceptible curve. And that I would be able to come back.
Also, I knew as a child that we were far away from, I guess, home, or where home was supposed to be. So I don't really know if I knew the significance of it. If that I really knew what it meant, but it delighted me anyway that all these people all over the world were singing the same thing.
This is the echo.
This is the echo.
This is the echo.
This is the echo.
This is the
echo.
A thing in motion moving to where it is not.
A thing in
A
motion.
thing in motion moving to
Moving.
where it is not.
It's memory, but it's memory that has been dragged.
And it cannot be in the present because it is not the present with the present because it is moving towards.
It's memory, but it's memory that has been
And
dragged.
it cannot be in the present because it is not present with the present because
And it
is
cannot be in the
moving
present
towards.
because it is not present with the present because it is moving towards. It doesn't want to be there.
It doesn't want to be there.
It doesn't want to be there.
Or maybe it does.
Or maybe it does.
Like, we love to dramatize those like huge moments of decision making where there's a giant fork in the road and I have to pick one. But it's an interesting like thing to think about.
It's memory, but it's memory that has been dragged.
Every word that we choose is a decision of that path, of that diverging path. Every single moment of our lives.
Ghosts of the future. The ghost of a dream. The devil you know.
And it cannot be in the present because it is not present.
Faith is planting seeds in the snow.
Do my old lovers know wherever they are now when I think of them?
That feeling of thinking there's a step there and you take a step down and the step's not
What
there.
do you think is the difference between touching and feeling?
The feeling, it's knowing nothing. And not just feeling, but acting on the feeling because you are suddenly alone.
Faith is planting seeds in the snow.
How can you describe how it feels?
Ghosts of the future.
Touching beyond possible. ¿Cómo puedes describir o
I
sentir
want to know about a moment
el tocar
when you
más
were a
allá de lo
child.
posible?
when
Because you're suddenly alone.
someone touched you or you
Undiscovered.
touched someone
I am
else. Like if
not
you remember the first time, like
A phantom limb.
you realized you were touching someone that wasn't you.
I am not.
Is it despised
Or
love?
desprised love.
Or desprised love.
The devil you know.
If we really are alive,
Feeling of falling that this is.
The devil, you
The
know.
ghost of a dream loaning out yourself to some daydream before you
the
are
river
pulled
bend.
back.
We imagine ahead and we remember behind, but
Feeling of falling.
like the arrow that is neither where it is nor where it will end.
If we are how we're retold.
If we really are alive.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Maybe the ghost of ourselves that we believe
That
in.
we believe in.
May she have everything she ever wished for, except one thing.
May she have everything she ever wished for.
May she have everything she ever wished for, except one thing.
Except one thing.
So that she always has something to strive for.
So that she always has something to strive for.
And every time we would say goodbye at the end of the night, or even in the, like whenever we were parting, we would yell like 1,000,000 and then tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow, because we were nerds.
camera, my friend. Esa rola de-
Oh, we are the cameras. Is that
Oh, yeah, yeah.
What's the other one that you were doing, Fiona? We are camera.
Bum.
Bum.
Okay, 1, 2, 3.
We are camera. Bum, ba-dum, bum, bum, bum.
Bum.